Hi, everybody. Molly here from the top of my playground in my very own backyard. When I think about the Sermon on the Mount, which is where the Beatitudes come from, I feel like I need to climb. And I figured climbing on my playground was a safe place to climb. But thinking about the Beatitudes, this has been a hard one to really get prepared for because we need to think about and remember what times were like when Jesus was around. He had people following him, and today there'd be, I'm sure, lots of people following him on like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all those social media things. But they didn't have that back then. So they had to actually be there in person with him, and they would walk everywhere and hike and climb. So we're going to meet up with some friends as they're getting ready to go on a hike with Jesus. And let's see what all they decide they need to bring on their trip. Now, one of my friends had a hard time remembering that this is back in the days before electricity, but let's see how things go.
Today, we'll join a crowd of people following Jesus who was changing everything. We need to pack some things to make the journey to visit Jesus. Imagine you have a small bag and you need to fill it with things to take on your journey. What are we going to take?
I don't know. I always, especially on a big trip, I get hungry. So I think that we should pack some food.
Okay. Yes. What kind of food?
But in Jesus' time, they didn't just like go to McDonald's, you know, like on their road trip and you just drive through. So I think that we're going to pack bread. My favorite food.
Bread?
I'm really like trying to stay away from carbs.
Well,
I have sausages.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you can put that in your bag.
Yes, I can. I actually have this.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
Because I wanted to bring a few other things. Got some nice bandanas here because I mean you always got to accessorize. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. I've got my Switch. I've got an iPad. I've got my charger. Does anyone have a charger?
Charger?
What?
Back in Jesus' day, I'm sure they didn't have the charger. But they would need coins. So we have some coins we're going to put in our bag.
I don't have coins, but I have a card.
I guess so.
I mean, that'll work.
Yeah. We're going on a very long journey, so we might get cold, so we better wear a blanket.
Yes, I agree.
That is a good idea.
Do you have a blanket?
It's a heated blanket. So as long as I have an outlet, I'll be okay because I do tend to get a little chilly.
Okay.
And it's also weighted.
Oh,
All right, they are ready for their trip. I've got my bag packed. But before we really get on this hike and following Jesus up this mountain, we were really starting to think about the times that Jesus was living in. And before we got on our hike, our friends stopped to think about these things. Let's listen in to hear what they were talking about.
Hey guys,
Hi.
what are you talking about?
How hard it was in Jesus' time for the people who didn't have much. And how it seemed like the wealthy people had all the land, all the power, all the money.
You see, life was extremely difficult for many of the followers of Jesus. There was a small group of wealthy people who made their life hard and made them poorer. And many of Jesus's followers didn't have much honor, meaning they didn't get a lot of respect or treated as if they belonged. So this was hard. So Jesus decided to do something wild. So Jesus couldn't wait to show people how backwards all of that was. So he began to help by healing people from all kinds of sicknesses and to tell them about God's kingdom. After healing so many people's hurts and pains, Jesus cared for them in another way. He brought them up a mountain and sat down to teach them, bringing healing to their hearts and their souls and their minds. So let's join Jesus on this mountain. You've got your bag. I hit that every time. You got your bag? And one important thing about climbing and hiking is hydration. Our friends back in the biblical times, back in Jesus' time, would stop and hydrate by the river. So let's see how our friends hydrated on their hike.
Hiking and climbing require hydration, so let's stop by the river.
Oh, how
And get
lovely.
something to drink.
I am thirsty. I am quite hard. I'm going to refill
Oh,
my
it's
water
so
bottle
refreshing.
because I care about our planet. It's filled.
Well, now I think we're ready to climb the mountain and sit down and hear what Jesus has to say. One by one, hurrah! Hurrah!
Wait, that's not
marching.
This is heavy.
Okay. Now, don't think just because you're watching this at home, probably sitting on a couch or in a chair, doesn't mean you can't be hiking. So stand up and let's start hiking. Hike. Or if you really are unable to get up and start hiking, you can hike with your fingers. We made it on the mountain.
Oh, man.
Woo! We made it again. Yes.
Anybody want some food?
All right.
sausage.
I got.
I think we have bread. We can sit on this, my blanket.
Oh, that'd be
Oh.
I guess Jesus would gather the people around him and he would begin to teach how he provides everything for us. He wanted us to know that there's an abundance in God's kingdom, an abundance of wealth, an abundance of resources, an abundance of love for every child of God to thrive. And you know, when there's enough love, no one has to oppress anybody else.
No pressure or fighting.
No fighting. We can all work together to build up God's kingdom. When Jesus was teaching, he was talking about 9 ways that we are blessed. But you know, the people he was talking to were unlucky. You know, they didn't have everything, but yet
They're wealthy.
they were not. But yet he called them blessed. Jesus described the blessed as happy. And that seems strange.
It does, because a lot of people think happiness comes from our circumstances around us. But that's not the case. I mean, it's still even that way to this day, where it depends on what we have or the situation that's going on, where we should be happy.
Jesus said happy or blessed are those we might actually think of as unlucky or having troubles. But Jesus' topsy-turvy teaching showed them that they are loved, they are special, and they're not alone. He encouraged them to see this in one another too. Jesus blessed people through his actions and word. He gave them hope.
There is enough in God's kingdom. Abundance. I love the word abundance, meaning there is plenty for everyone in God's kingdom. There is enough clean water in God's kingdom. There is enough rainforest for all the animals. There is enough time for all the families. Imagine enough time. There is. And there is enough love for everyone. Whether you feel lonely or sad, there is enough love for everyone. All right, I want you to take a minute and think about God's kingdom. What does it look like, sound like, smell like, feel like? What does it taste like? I want you to either draw me a picture of what you think God's kingdom is, or you can go on a walk around your neighborhood with your family and see what signs of God's kingdom you see or hear or smell. Like I can smell freshly mowed grass right now. God's kingdom. Or what does it sound like or feel like? Think about these things, and why does it remind you of God's kingdom? Now, I would like to offer you a blessing. So put your hands out as if you're going to receive a gift and hear these words. You are blessed. There is more than enough love for you in God's kingdom. You are blessed. There is more than enough love for you here in God's kingdom. Let us end our time together in prayer. Loving God, we praise you for your abundance, your abundant love, abundant belonging, and abundant hope. Help us to bring your kingdom to our world today. Amen. Have a great week. I will see you next time. Be nice, be good, be blessed. Bye, guys. Okay, there's 3. 1,
There we go.
2, 3.
There it is.
What song plays at 3 o'clock? Dun, 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 dun. Is that the one?
I don't know.
I'm not even sure.
Oh, it's Boomer Sooner.
Is it 3 o'clock?
It's 3
Oh.
o'clock. It's already 3.